Welcome to the Better Plants podcast by BASF. On this episode, we'll be talking with Dr. Emma Lookabaugh and Jen Browning from BASF about research-based recommendations for fall crop rooting. Hello, and welcome to the Better Plants podcast, sponsored by BASF. I'm Robin Sitberg, Custom Content Editor for Meister Media Worldwide, publisher of Greenhouse Grower Magazine. I'm talking today with Dr. Emma Lookabaugh, Technical Specialist for the Southeast for BASF, and Jen Browning, Technical Specialist for the West, also for BASF. We're going to talk today about research-based recommendations for fall crop success. So welcome to the program, both of you.
Hi, good to be here.
Well, when people say fall crops, what are they actually referring to? Could you give a quick overview of fall and holiday crops?
Sure, this is Jen, and as we move into summer, growers are going to be turning their attention to bringing in propagation material. They'll start sticking poinsettias in July, right around cultivate. They'll be starting their mums and their perennial holiday crops, and those can be marketed as florist gifts or small Christmas trees for small spaces. Those might include things like lavender and azaleas, those tiny spruce trees that you see, rosemary, leptospermum, and Christmas cactus. And they'll also be starting the next round of annuals. So primrose, pansies, and violas, some fall vegetable transplants, and they'll even be growing on some woody transplants that will go into the ground in autumn.
What are some of the common disease problems that you might see with these crops?
Well, we can really think about disease control and disease issues in two stages. So problems during propagation, and then once we get to transplant through finishing. So during propagation, the primary goal is to protect your tender plant tissue from pathogens like botrytis, rhizoctonia, and even pythium. So high humidity and densely spaced plants are the perfect conditions for these diseases to develop. And once these pathogens get going, they can quickly spread and wipe out an entire tray pretty fast. So for crops like lavender or poinsettia that are vegetatively propagated through cuttings, most growers can't afford to lose a bunch of cuttings from disease or because they failed to root. So a lot of effort goes into protecting the crop early on. There's a saying that goes, once you see one poinsettia cutting go down to pythium or rhizoctonia, that whole strip is dead. You just may not know it yet. So that really stresses how important it is to keep propagative material healthy and disease-free. Pageant intrinsic brand fungicide can be applied at sticking to protect your cuttings from diseases like botrytis blight, but it also provides proven plant health benefits. So pageant-treated cuttings exhibit faster callus formation, and they also produce longer, stronger roots. And faster rooting means you can get your cuttings transplanted and off the mist bench sooner.
I know transplant time is a particularly vulnerable time in the production cycle. Are there particular considerations about diseases during transplant?
Yeah, so as we move into transplant timing and beyond, your root and crown diseases continue to be an issue. So we can drench with Impress intrinsic brand fungicide at transplant to protect your plants from disease. But then that fungicide also provides plant health benefits similar to what we see with Pageant intrinsic brand fungicide. So Impress-treated plants exhibit more lateral branching and more robust root systems. And this is also where Phytophthora may rear its ugly head around this time. So you want to be sure you include oomycete-specific products like Orvego fungicide or Segway fungicide in your rotation program to add some extra protection. Botrytis can be a problem at any stage in production, so whether you have high humidity or cloudy overcast conditions, it can really pop up anytime. Mid-stage production is usually where we start seeing leaf spot diseases or powdery mildews. So rotating those pageant applications with contact fungicides like chlorothalonil or mancozeb is recommended for broad spectrum disease control and also for resistance management. So you never want to go back to back with the same mode of action or same frat group. This is also an exciting time for us because BASF is launching a new fungicide for the greenhouse and nursery market. Avelio fungicide is powered by the active ingredient methentrifluconazole, and it delivers broad-spectrum disease control and exceptional plant safety. So Avelio will make another dynamic rotation partner to our intrinsic brand portfolio, and we can use it at any stage in production. So it's going to be really great when we start talking about this, mid-stage rotation. So we're really excited for the launch.
What are some common insect pests? I know we haven't talked about those yet.
Yeah, for those fall crops. Well, the pest pressure starts early. It starts way earlier than the crops are actually ready. With summer and the warm temperature, that's going to be bringing on the whitefly and spider mites for these crops, both of which are going to be handled best with program approaches. So for whiteflies, some growers are still able to start with group 4 or the neonicotinoid-based drench applications to protect their plants from piercing and sucking pests like whiteflies, mealybug, and scale. So whether you use this approach or not, the next hitter up to bat should be Ventigra insecticide from BASF to protect plants from these pests throughout the season. So we recommend that programs include an insect growth regulator like distance and other modes of action like mainspring, which will also help pick up thrips and other insect pests. And what this does is it gives you a well-rounded program that you can add in other products as needed, but this is a really good base to build from. So for spider mites and Lewis mites, sultan miticide is a targeted material, and that delivers control with fast knockdown and long residual. For this product, we recommend rotation with tetrasan. If you don't have mites from other families, you may not need to make many more applications because sultan controls all life stages of spider mites with excellent plant safety. And then finally from BASF, Velifer fungal contact insecticide and miticide is our Bavaria bassiana product, and that can be used as a foundational product that you apply once a week to keep pest pressure low all season. This product covers all the pests we've talked about and more. So you've got whiteflies, mealybugs, thrips, even spider mites. All the products that I've mentioned from BASF have excellent plant safety profiles, and they're also compatible with beneficials and pollinators. So this year, we're heavily promoting programs and product mixes that may even include competitor products and different options from a wide variety of portfolios that keep insect and mite pressure at low or below threshold all season long, and that helps growers not need to make rescue applications as they approach that stressful time of finish and shipping during October and November.
Many of these growers grow the same crops every year, and they're very good at it, but they still can run into problems with those pests and diseases every year. What sort of leads to that?
So in terms of disease control, we see growers run into problems when they try to stretch their fungicide application intervals a little too far, or when they hold over plant tissue too long. So when we're dealing with botrytis blight or some of the root and crown diseases, once you see sporulation or severe symptoms, you really can't reverse the damage. That cutting or that plant is trash. And that can sometimes be really hard to accept, but keeping old diseased plants in the production area only leads to more heartache and wasted fungicide applications later on. Fungicides can do a lot when they're applied preventatively, but sadly, none of these products can wake the dead. So diseased plants only serve as a source of inoculum, and you need to get rid of those plants as soon as you see symptoms and then protect the rest with fungicides.
I think that would be the holy grail, right? To have a product that would wake the dead. But so what about specific stresses during production? We talked about transplant a bit. What are some other risky times, and how should growers handle those?
Yeah, so we talked about propagation, we mentioned transplant. Anytime you step up plants into new pots, at pinching, and then prior to shipping, those are all other stressful times. So pinching is incredibly stressful, and we do recommend you apply Pageant prior to pinching to control opportunistic botrytis, but then also help that plant withstand the stress of having its top chopped off, basically. So then you can apply a follow-up. You can follow up that application with a contact fungicide like chlorothalonil or mancozeb to protect any new growth. These are also the times when you have more worker handling and potential for injury or damage. So these activities cause plant stress, and stress plants can be more susceptible to diseases and insect pests. So really my advice is to be more proactive instead of reactive in terms of disease control and pest control. Don't wait until you see symptoms to intervene. Start early with those preventative programs so that you can finish strong and healthy with vigorous plants at the end.
How do BASF reps help before and during the fall production cycle? I know you both are probably out there all the time working with growers. What do you tell people?
So both our sales and our technical service reps can help with being proactive and making suggestions to tweak not only spray programs, but also with timing and cultural practices. Many of us are experienced as growers and greenhouse managers, but we also gather data from working with customers and university cooperators. So we're able to share what we've learned to help growers make small changes that can enhance their success and their outcomes each season. So what we suggest is give your BASF sales rep a call or visit our website at betterplants.basf.us to learn more about our tools for success. And we're happy to help.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Emma Lookabaugh and Jen Browning. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your expertise today. And please contact your BASF representative if you need help or further advice about anything we talked about today. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Better Plants podcast by BASF. Keep an eye out for the next episode where we'll be talking about insect pests, particularly IPM for mites and thrips. Always read and follow label directions. Intrinsic, Orchestra, Pageant, Sultan, Bellifer, and Ventigra are registered trademarks of BASF.